Just about 3:32 p.m., members of the Metropolitan Police Department responded to the scene of the library at 18th and Good Hope Road for the report of a shooting. Our officers arrived at this location and found a library police officer unconscious, suffering from a gunshot wound. What we've learned so far is that there was a training that was taking place. The training was being conducted by a retired member from the Metropolitan Police Department, a retired lieutenant, was conducting training in one of the training rooms. And at some point during the course of at the end of the training, the retired lieutenant fired a shot from a weapon that struck this police officer, and the police officer was taken to an area hospital and has since been pronounced.
Horrific situation out there in DC, because it was a joke as that, I mean, maybe he didn't point out there, but what ended up being a joke from a training session ended up killing one of these police trainees out in DC. Let's go to some more details of how this went down, because involuntary manslaughter is now the charge that's coming to this guy. So this, through a DC police spokesman, Dustin Sternbeck, he identified the retired lieutenant as Jesse Porter. He's 58 years old. He left the force in November of 2020. He's accused of fatally shooting Marika Amanyan, who was 25 years old, of Indian Head. Her relatives could not be reached. So this is what happened. A little more details in what the chief was saying there. Porter was contracted by the Anacostia Neighborhood Library to provide training for some of its officers on the use of extendable batons. I want you guys to remember that. They were training about extendable batons. That's according to police reports. He runs a private company called Porter Consulting. Online records show that. Websites describe Porter as a use of force consultant and a de-escalation and crisis intervention instructor. Police have said about 6 people were in the room at the time, including Porter, Manyan, and several other library police officers. At that point, witnesses interviewed during the charging document said that she told the class that she wasn't ready for the picture because she was still wearing her mask to protect against coronavirus. Then the group began laughing at her. That's according to the documents as well, because she had been having bad hair issues all day. There was video footage, sadly, which has not been released, but was referenced in the charging documents. It showed her removing her mask and placing it down on her side. Then that's when Porter came in his joke, and he said, here we go again. And he walked out of the picture line, picked up his handgun, turned and shot her in the chest. Witnesses described hearing a loud boom and then watching the 25-year-old collapse to the floor. And a DC police officer who responded to the scene said she saw Porter performing CPR on her and heard him say something like, "I thought I had my training gun. Why did I do this? Is she okay?" And all that. So as he's trying to do something about it. So I remember this happened earlier, Burbank, before you were working with us. And this was a trainee out in Michigan. And we did this video a few months ago on the show. And he was just like this voluntary trainee, and he's gonna be the bad guy in the situation. He ran in and he acted like he was fighting, and the police trainer, or I think it was the trainer or one of the people that was actually doing it, picked up a real gun instead of the training gun and shot him in the stomach. This guy survived though. In this case, it was more tragic than that because she got shot in the chest and she later passed away. I'm trying to figure out why and he didn't know which gun was his. We've seen for tasers getting substituted for a gun, and then now a training gun. You can't tell the difference. Why is it there? I mean, it's the simplest question.
Yeah, why is there live ammunition in it? Same questions we were asking. I remember when Hutchins was shot on the set of Rust with Alec Baldwin. And it's just like, is it necessary for there to be live ammunition loaded into the gun? Also, taking a few steps back, why do armed security officers need to be in libraries? I understand that the DC Public Library might have some important records. Keep those locked away. Why do people in the library need to have guns? I'm really unsettled by like armed security being everywhere. It doesn't seem necessary. So I think if we step back and think about that and wonder what it's for, maybe this situation could have been avoided, right? If I make a mistake in a training, which I have before, if I'm teaching someone how to shake a drink bartending, one time I was teaching them how to shake a drink in a way I don't usually shake it, and it fell on the floor, right? If I make a mistake in a training there, nobody dies. I mean, you've got to be much more careful if you're giving trainings about guns. You don't need to have the gun loaded for the training. It's not necessary.
It's weird. I mean, I don't own a gun. I don't shoot. So maybe I don't know the process of gun safety. But I would think if you're in a training session where I guess you don't feel in danger, you have this loaded gun there sitting, I guess, in close proximity to your training gun, which apparently is the same weight, feel, and look of the other one, because you're making this quick joke and then it happens like that. I always wonder, just to avoid the situation. I had a friend in high school when I was in Michigan. We were hanging out, 5 of us were in his basement, and his father hunted. And it was this old gun hanging on the walls, old rifle. It's not like it didn't even look like you would use it much anymore. And one of the friends grabbed it and pointed it and was like, aha. And I was like, if you don't stop pointing that gun at me, this is gonna be a serious problem. And then he's like, it's just old. And I was like, bro, it's so weird how people just get so comfortable with these things. It's like a Lego. Oh, I got Legos, you wanna play? No, bro, this is a gun. It's a totally different situation. So playing with guns is because this is comfort level that's come with it, that after we've gone through all the safeties and trainings, this guy is a trainer. It doesn't matter, because it goes out the window once your comfort level is high enough. And we got tragedies like this. This sucks. Let's get to one more story before we go to you have one more thought? Go ahead.
No, just as someone who uses guns, it seems like it's a pretty common theme that people who should never be around guns are around guns. And there's all of these tactical trainings you can do for public safety. And too often, like at a gun range that I used to go to, there was a training happening, not while I was there, but someone wasn't used to the kickback of the gun. And the gun went all the way back and ended up hitting the trainer in the head. And so I think there are just some people who should never be around guns, but if you're ever going to learn to shoot, you can very easily separate the tactical training where you emulate situations where you might need to take out your gun in defense situations or whatever it is. That doesn't have to be the same loaded gun that you would use for shooting. You can separately shoot the gun. It's just a big problem. And in LA, we have a lot of tourists who just come in and shoot guns for fun. And it's just not something you should be doing for fun. It's something you should be doing for self-defense.
The lines out of the gun ranges I've seen in LA have grown, just put it that way. Down the street, I saw. Let's just keep it real.